Little cut on that one.
Yep, a little bit.
So, new products come in, photo shoot. What's your first reaction to it? When you get a new driver, what do you
it's always excitement. I always like the part where, you guys explain the technology behind it.
Yeah.
The innovation, the difference, and we always like, we always get anxious to try to see how it feels, right? In this case, we get to see the different shape of the head, a little bit of a difference. But then when you look down on it, it looks pretty similar to last year. Beautiful colors. Something that really fits the eye. It's easy, and then once you start hitting it, man, it feels good.
So when you get on a hole like this, where does coming on a hole and your testing come into the equation? Because this requires a fade. You've hit a little fade down there. Mm-hmm. Where does that come into the conversation for you? The testing process.
The testing? Well, a lot of it is done on the range, right? Like, there's hardly ever a club when I get it the first time it's perfectly fitted for me.
Yeah.
So it's
that keeps us in a job, John. Remember that, mate. If it's not perfectly fit for you, that keeps us in a job. That means we get to work with you.
Well, no, that's the thing, right? You got to keep working until it's absolutely perfect. Once that happens, it usually, it's fit. So there's no testing going on the golf course.
Yeah.
It's I feel like if I'm gonna tee it up, especially in a tournament, it better be ready. I'm never gonna tee it up with something I'm not fully confident on.
And do you find yourself playing around with CG locations and, how you want the ball to fly? Will you go out and test and then come back into the guys and be like, okay, it was good, but it wasn't drawing enough, or I couldn't hit this shot on number 7, or?
Yeah, it happens. Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I'm not gonna play a tournament with a club unless it's absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
It's how it is. So we've played with it. I remember the first few M2s that came out, I put weight on the toe to facilitate a fade. Last year on the M5, I had both of my weights in the center, but one was really far back, just to try to keep a little bit, higher launch, less spin. That's what I always do. In this case, this one so far, the Spin Max, the Sim Max is really, really good. I might need to adjust some things a little bit. I've also been taking some time off, so I might not be swinging as good as I would like.
And it changes, does it, based on how in the groove you are for the season?
Yeah, like right now, my speed is not up to it. So it could happen that I get a driver fitted for me right now perfectly, but then I get in tournament shape and I might be swinging a little bit faster. We'll change the spin rate and the angles, right? But I still get something very similar. Usually, you guys do a great job, and when I get a club, there's not much changing to do.
So when you come to these tournaments, you don't play the driver until you're super happy with it. Mm-hmm. Then you play holes like this. You hit the cut down there, and I imagine that there'll be a lot of golf balls end up in the same place. How do you deal with that as a tour player? Do you ever play to miss the land areas? Let's say it gets to Sunday. What about if you're getting a divot then and stuff like that?
I don't think we ever play like it. It's surprising for how many divots we get in certain spots. I don't remember hitting a shot of a divot this year. It happens once, twice, if you're unlucky, maybe 3 times. And a lot of those cases or scenarios, they do a really good job at refilling it with sand, and you get a decent lie. In the odd chance you get a bad one, and it's a fresh divot, and you go in there. It all depends how far you're from the hole, where the pin is, the circumstances, right? But the only thing you can do is I usually put it back on my stance. Try to be steep, right? You're trying to create as much contact with the ball as possible and get it out of there. It's gonna come out low.
Yeah.
Sometimes it comes with spin, sometimes it comes with no spin. It's kind of the chance you have to take, but it's just gonna come out low and hard.
Yeah. I mean, it's unpredictable, like you say. Obviously, you hit a good one down here. Luckily, you're not in a divot. Let's see what you can do.
Let's put me in a divot. Is that what's gonna happen?
I think we should at some point.
Sounds good.
John, you've hit a good one down here, but let's recreate a divot lie. It's hard. Like you say, these golf courses are maintained so well.
Yes.
And I got a couple of balls, so we can recreate a couple of options. But
yeah, once they hit it, I think we can have the other option as well.
This one wouldn't be concerning to you, or it would be concerning to you?
It's not. Like, luckily, we're on the front of the divot. We're also in a downslope, and it's been refilled, so it's not as deep as it could be. So there's actually quite a bit of room for the club to get in there, right? It's also a divot that's aiming left, so for the right-hander, my path of swing is left. So
which would be good with this pin because
yeah,
you can fade it
well,
in
the
there.
pin doesn't matter. It depends when you know. It doesn't even depend on what shot I'm hitting because my path is always going to be left.
Yeah.
So in that case, I got lucky in that sense. A left-hander might have a harder time, but it's not the worst case scenario, right? I mean, I'm putting the club normally behind it in good enough room that the club is just gonna, you know, it's gonna get in without having to manipulate.
And you go
it too
through
much.
everything the same. You get your yardage off your caddy, everything.
See, a lot of times, because the ball's against the edge, it might come a little short. But I mean, it all depends on how well you strike it. Usually, at least what I will do is, you know, put it a little back on my stance. You know, I do have the ball really far up, so try to get a little bit more ball contact. Not as much as I would if it was a deep one.
And that changes your attack angle automatically, right?
Exactly.
Just subconsciously.
Yeah, I can still put it up in this case and hit a pretty good shot, probably. See, I didn't change much on the swing, and I still got it out of there pretty good.
Yeah, nice result. So let's say then the divot, as you say, is now
one of these
deeper.
Yeah, let's try to put it more.
Firstly, you know, the reaction when you walk up here, you've center striped it.
Yeah.
How do you keep yourself in a good frame of mind? Because you're gutted at this, right?
Well, being me, you won't see me smile about it. Won't be too happy, but those are certainly things that happen in golf.
Yeah.
There's some things you can control and things you can't control. It is unfortunate, but it happens to a lot of people throughout the year. The worst case is when you leave yourself on a par 5, you're going to a yardage of maybe 80 yards, and you go into a divot. That's when it's going to affect the most. And
mentally, or even
no, even in the shot, because
Yeah.
you're not going to be able to get the amount of height and spin that you want.
Yeah.
Now, in this case scenario, we're so far from the green that, you know, even if the ball comes low, you can still have a chance to hit on the green or close. You know, here's this. It's a deeper one, right? I mean, I just made this divot so the iron fits, but sometimes it's a little bit smaller, and you can't quite get underneath the ball. So the only option for me, you know, I try to aim left of my target, put the ball back on my stance, and just be aggressive towards it. Be steep, and try to get as solid a contact as possible with the ball, and hope the ball gets to the hole.
Yeah.
I missed it a little right, but it got out.
A little lower.
Yeah, it's gonna come out low.
Yeah. I mean, it's great to hear and see and listen to the thought process about what goes through. There's certainly a lot in there. And,
yeah, it's, you know, it's you can't hit a normal shot in that sense. Like, you're always gonna catch the edge of the divot and not get a good result. You just need to be, you know, aggressive towards it and hope the best.
Twist face can do a lot for you, but it can't keep you out the divots, unfortunately.
No.
We'll work on that going forward.
Yeah, well, maybe Sim can do something for us.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Cheers, John.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy. Okay.
And we're out.
Digging a hole over there.
Sweet.